The night was cold and quiet. Jacob sat alone in his small house on the edge of the human colony. He was drinking warm tea, staring at the dark trees outside his window. The moon was full, casting silver light across his backyard. It should have been peaceful, but then he heard a sound. It was soft, like something brushing the grass. He stood up slowly, placing his cup on the table. His hand reached for the old plasma pistol near the door. Not many animals came this close, not at night. Not since the incident last winter. He opened the door and stepped into the cold air. The wind bit at his skin. He moved carefully, each step silent. Then he saw it near the big oak tree in the corner of the yard. A basket, just sitting there, covered in a glowing silver cloth. He froze. Something was inside. Jacob slowly walked forward, heart pounding. The basket looked new but strange. Not made from earthwood. It shimmered like it had stardust in its weave. As he got closer, he heard a soft, high-pitched sound. A baby. His heart skipped. He dropped to his knees beside the basket and gently pulled back the cloth. What he saw made him stop breathing. The baby was not human. She was tiny, wrapped tightly, but her skin was soft lavender, almost glowing. Her eyes were closed, but they flickered with light beneath the lids. Small antennae-like ridges ran along her temple. Her fingers were long, delicate, with faint blue veins visible under the skin. Jacob looked around quickly. No one. Nothing. Just the cold wind and the silent trees. Then he saw something tucked in the folds of the cloth, a small piece of paper. The words were written in shaky English. "Please protect her. I will come back. Ayla." He stared at the message, then looked at the child. She stirred, opening her glowing eyes and looked straight at him. Jacob felt something he hadn't felt in years. Connection. She didn't cry, didn't flinch, just looked at him, as if she knew he was the one meant to find her. "All right," he whispered. "Let's get you warm." He picked up the basket gently and brought it inside. He laid the child on his old couch and quickly started the fire. Then he wrapped her in a soft towel and placed her near the warmth. He didn't know what she needed. Was she hungry, cold, afraid? But she just watched him, calm. "I don't even know what species you are," he murmured, pouring some warm water into a small bottle. He tried feeding her. At first, she didn't respond. But then, slowly, she began to drink. She finished it fast, then let out a tiny sound, a soft hum, almost like a purr. Jacob chuckled. "You're not from around here, huh?" 3 months passed. The baby he had named her Lyra was growing. Faster than any human child, she began to sit up within weeks. Her eyes followed him everywhere. Sometimes she made toys float without touching them. Other times she cried silently, but he would feel sadness in his chest before hearing a sound. It was like she was speaking directly into his heart. Jacob didn't tell anyone. Out here, people were suspicious. Aliens weren't trusted, especially strange, powerful ones. He had seen what happened when humans feared something they didn't understand. He kept Lyra hidden. At night, he read her stories. She would hum with joy at the sound of his voice. During the day, he'd build small devices from scraps for her to play with. She loved anything that lit up or buzzed, but he always wondered, who was Ayla? Why did she leave the baby? Would she return? That night, exactly 3 months after he found her, Jacob felt something strange. The wind was still. Too still. Number. Birds, no insects. Just silence. Lyra sat on the floor, her glowing eyes staring toward the back window. She pointed a finger. "Lights," she said, her first word. Jacob turned to look. The backyard lights flickered, then went out. Darkness. And then a voice. It wasn't spoken. It was in his mind. "She's mine. I've returned." Jacob rushed to the window. At the edge of the forest, under the same oak tree, stood a tall figure cloaked in shadow. Not human. Not completely. Jacob turned back. Lyra was standing now, tiny fists clenched. Her eyes were glowing bright. The voice came again, louder this time. Bring her to me. Jacob grabbed his plasma pistol from the drawer. He looked down at the child who had become like a daughter to him. He whispered, "Over my dead body." He stepped outside, heart racing, weapon ready, as the wind howled through the trees once more. The night was thicker than smoke. Jacob stood in the cold grass, plasma pistol aimed straight ahead. His finger was tight on the trigger, but his mind wasn't calm. It wasn't fear he had seen war. It was something else. Something deep. Something protective. The figure near the oak tree did not move. Jacob stepped closer. Eyes narrowed. The figure raised one hand. Not in threat, but in peace. "Don't shoot," a voice whispered. This time not in his mind, but aloud. It was soft, musical, but cracked like it hadn't been used in years. Jacob stopped just 10 feet away. The moonlight broke through the clouds, and he saw her clearly. She wasn't just an alien. She was beautiful. Her violet skin shimmered faintly, just like Lyra's. Her eyes were bright silver, her face elegant and sharp. Long markings curved along her cheeks, tattoos maybe. Her cloak was torn, stained with something dark. Her body shook as she stood tall. "I am Ayla," she said. "Lyra's mother." Jacob didn't lower the gun. "Why did you leave her?" he asked. "You dropped her like a message in my backyard." "I was being hunted," she said, breathing hard. "Slavers, trackers, they wanted her. I had to vanish. I watched from the trees. You were kind. I saw your heart." Jacob finally lowered the weapon, but only a little. "She called you," Ayla added. "That's why I'm here." "Called me?" Ayla nodded, stepping forward slowly. "She's special, even for my kind. She has the voice a rare bondmaker. She connected with you. I felt it, across the stars." Jacob didn't know what to say. His thoughts raced. Lyra was still inside. She had spoken one word tonight: lights. That had never happened before. "Why now?" he asked. "Because they found me again," Ayla whispered. "And now they'll come here." Her legs buckled. Jacob rushed forward and caught her just before she hit the ground. Her skin was cold. Too cold. It pulsed with faint light, and her breathing was shallow. "She's sick," Jacob muttered, lifting her. "Easily. Or worse." He carried her inside, past the dusty tools and cracked wooden shelves. Lyra sat in the middle of the floor, eyes wide. When she saw Ayla, she didn't move, but something in the air changed. Jacob laid Ayla down on the couch. Lyra walked slowly to her mother. Then she placed her tiny hand over Ayla's heart. There was no sound, but something happened. A soft white glow rose from Lyra's fingers and flowed into Ayla's chest. It shimmered, pulsed, and then faded. Ayla gasped. Her eyes fluttered open. "She's stronger than I thought," Ayla whispered weakly. "She used the link touch. That shouldn't be possible for her age." Lyra stepped back, her small body wobbling. Jacob picked her up and held her close. "I still don't trust you," he said to Ayla. "But I'm not the kind of man who leaves people to die. So talk, all of it. Who are you running from? Why is Lyra in danger?" Ayla sat up slowly. "There is a group, the Valari. They hunt rare genes across the galaxy. Lyra's bloodline is old royal even. Peaceburn, not warburn. It threatens the balance of power in my world. They fear her, but they want her alive." "Alive?" Jacob repeated. "For what?" Ayla looked away. "To breed, to control, to silence. They call her the Keyborn." Jacob's blood boiled. He looked down at Lyra, so small, so pure, and imagined what monsters might do if they ever got their hands on her. "No one touches her," Jacob said darkly. Ayla met his eyes. "I need help," she said. "I can't fight alone anymore." Jacob hesitated. Then he turned to the cabinet. pulled out a scanner. It lit up red and hummed over Ayla's arm. "You're injured. You've got plasma-scoring left ribs. You need rest. And shelter." He moved quickly, setting blankets, warming food. Ayla watched with tired eyes. "You were a soldier," she said. "Long ago," Jacob replied. "Earth War 7. No wonder she chose you." A strange silence settled. Then the lights flickered again. Jacob froze. "No wind," he whispered. "That's not power surge." Ayla's face turned pale. "They're here." Jacob grabbed his plasma rifle and looked at her. "If they want Lyra, they'll have to burn this house down." Ayla stood, trembling but ready. "I'll fight beside you." They turned toward the door. Outside something moved. Above the forest, the stars vanished one by one. Jacob stepped onto the porch, his rifle charged, eyes scanning the night sky. It was too quiet. Even the insects had stopped singing. Ayla stood beside him, still weak, but her silver eyes burned. With focus, then it appeared, not flying, hovering. A dark ship blocked the moon, silent and still. It was shaped like a claw, black metal twisted in jagged curves. No lights, no engine hum. Just an eerie hum inside Jacob's skull, like a pressure building behind his eyes. "That's not a ship," he muttered. "It's a Valari collector," Ayla said, voice sharp. "They don't come to talk. They come to take." The ground pulsed beneath their feet. A thin red beam scanned the yard, passing over the trees, the grass stopping just short of the house. Inside, Lyra began to cry, not loud. But Jacob felt it inside his mind. Her fear hit him like a cold wave. His knees buckled slightly, but he held firm. "She knows," he said. "They're here for her." Ayla didn't respond. She had gone pale, staring at the sky. Jacob looked. Up again. A second shape was descending, smaller, but faster. He turned and ran inside, grabbing Lyra from her blanket. Her eyes glowed with panic. "Stay close to me," he whispered. "Underground," Ayla called out. "Do you have a place?" Jacob kicked open the floor panel. Beneath the rug was a tunnel, small, tight, but safe. A storm shelter. Reinforced steel. Left over from the last colony raids years ago. He handed Lyra to Ayla. "Go," he ordered. "I'll stall them." "No," Ayla snapped. "You won't make it." Jacob locked eyes with her. "I don't need to make it. I need to slow them." Down. Before she could argue, he closed the hatch and sealed it. He turned back toward the door, just as the rooftop. Shook. Something landed on top of the house. The ceiling cracked. Dust rained down. Then silence. Jacob moved fast. He threw open cabinets, activated 2 turret drones, and dropped smoke pellets in the hallway. He grabbed his helmet and slammed it on. The HUD lit up with red alerts. Target, multiple hostiles detected. He didn't flinch. From above a crash. The ceiling shattered as a figure dropped down, cloaked in black armor, its face hidden by a glowing red visor. It hissed through a mechanical mask, scanning the room with 4 glowing lenses. Jacob didn't wait. He fired. The plasma shot hit the creature dead center, but it didn't fall. The Valari soldier barely moved as smoke curled off its armor. Then, it lunged fast, too fast. Jacob rolled aside, knocking over furniture, slamming a flash grenade onto the floor. Boom. Light exploded through the room. The alien shrieked, sensors fried for a moment. Jacob didn't waste the chance. He fired again, this time into its side. The shot tore through something vital. The Valari staggered. Jacob grabbed a broken pipe and drove it through its chest. The creature let out a horrible screech before collapsing. But the noise had triggered something. From the trees, 3 more soldiers emerged. No more hiding. Valari had come to take the child, and they wouldn't stop. Jacob ran outside, sliding behind the truck parked near his tool shed. He activated the emergency beacon hidden under the fender. It sent a coded distress signal, old Earth military frequency, but he didn't know if anyone would hear. Beneath the house, in the storm shelter, Ayla clutched Lyra tightly. The walls shook with every explosion above. Lyra trembled, but her eyes had changed. No longer frightened, now glowing white. She's awakening. Ayla whispered. Lyra reached out with her hand toward the ceiling, and then, without touching anything, a sharp tremor rippled through the floor. Ayla gasped. Outside, Jacob aimed his rifle at the next attacker, but before he could fire, the Valari soldier froze mid-step. Its body stiffened, then crumpled like a doll. Jacob blinked. What just happened? A low rumble came from beneath the ground, like something stirring beneath the earth itself. Suddenly, the second and third soldiers screamed and clutched their heads. Then Dash exploded. Not from weapons. From the inside. Jacob turned toward the house. Stunned. From the cracks in the floor, white light poured out, and then he heard Lyra's voice, not in his ears, in his mind. They won't take me. The moon turned red. Jacob stared at the smoking bodies of the Valari soldiers scattered across his yard. They hadn't been shot, stabbed, or burned. They'd been ripped apart from within, like their own minds had exploded, and it wasn't his doing. It was hers. He looked down at the glowing cracks in the ground. The earth pulsed faintly, white light seeping from the storm shelter below. Lyra. Jacob sprinted back inside. He yanked open the floor hatch. Ayla was on her knees, shielding the girl. Lyra stood upright, her eyes glowing like twin stars. Her hands were raised, not in fear but focus. She protected us, Ayla whispered. She turned their own minds against them. Jacob's breath caught. How? She's not just Peaceburn, Ayla said. She's beyond what they feared. She's awakened. Suddenly, Lyra dropped. Jacob caught her before she hit the floor. Her skin was cold again. Her light gone. She's drained, Ayla said. She's just a child. She doesn't understand how to control it yet. Jacob didn't waste a second. Then we need to run. No, Ayla replied. They know she's here. More will come, bigger ones. Stronger ones. Jacob looked at her. I'm not planning to run away, he said. I'm planning to run ahead of them. They moved fast. Jacob loaded weapons, charged old gear, and pulled an ancient storage crate from the garage. Inside was his old war drone, DOG-9, a four-legged mech the size of a small car. He powered it up. Command unit online, DOG-9 said in a dry, digital voice. Mission protocol? Protect the child, Jacob said. Lethal force? Full. Permission granted. Ayla watched in awe. You fought with machines? Jacob smirked. Machines kept me alive. While the drone guarded the front yard, Jacob went to work on the escape plan. He used a stolen Valari chip from one of the dead soldiers. With Ayla's help, he hacked it. The chip contained beacon coordinates used to call Valari ships to exact locations. We're going to trick them, Jacob said. We'll send them away from here. You'll give them a false signal? Ayla asked. More than that, he said. I'm going to lead them right into Earth's defense zone. Ayla's eyes widened. That's suicide. Only if I fail. Jacob attached the modified beacon chip to a small drone and launched it into the sky. It flew east, far away toward Sector 9, an old abandoned mining zone with hidden Earth orbital guns still online. The fake signal would make. It looked like Lyra was escaping that way. If we're lucky, Jacob said, they'll follow it and get blasted out of orbit. And if they don't? Ayla asked. Jacob just checked the charge on his plasma rifle. Then we fight till the end. Back inside, Lyra slowly woke. Her voice was weak. Mama. Papa. Jacob froze. She had said Papa. Ayla touched his arm. She's chosen you. In my culture, that's permanent. Jacob didn't reply. He just looked down at the small girl resting in his lap. He had found her in a basket. She had turned his world upside down. And now he would burn the stars before letting anyone take her. Later that night, a faint whine filled the air. Not one ship. 3 sleek black dropships, hovering in triangle formation, slowly circled above the house. They didn't fall for the decoy, Jacob said grimly. Ayla stood beside him, a glowing blade in her hand. Then they're smarter than I thought. Dog -9 raised its turrets. Combat threat detected. Engaging. From the dropships, figures began to fall one by one, heavily armored, tall, silent. No visors this time, just smooth helmets that shimmered like oil. These weren't scouts, these were elites. They're not coming to capture, Ayla said, her voice shaking. They're coming to clean up. One of the soldiers landed right on the roof and vanished. Cloaked, Jacob muttered. There, using adaptive invisibility. Just then, an explosion tore through the tool shed. DOG-9 opened fire, spraying energy blasts in every direction. 2 elites were hit, only staggered. Jacob grabbed Lyra and pushed her behind a steel barrier. Stay low. Another tremor rocked the ground. But this time, it wasn't from the enemy. It was from beneath the house. Lyra stepped forward again. Her eyes began to glow, but different now, blue and gold. Her hair lifted in the air like underwater silk. No, Jacob called. You're too weak. But Lyra raised her hand, and the earth answered. From the ground behind the house, giant roots burst out alive, moving like snakes, grabbing the incoming enemies, crushing their armor like paper. Jacob stared. She's not just psychic, Ayla whispered. She's bonded to the planet. Lyra fell again, but this time she smiled. They won't hurt you, she said softly. I told the world to help us. The air smelled like fire and metal. Jacob's yard, once filled with trees and silence, was now a battlefield. Smoke rose from the wreckage of Dog -9, its metal frame crushed by a Velari elite. Sparks flew from broken machines. Alien bodies lay scattered, their dark armor cracked open like broken eggshells. But more were coming. Above the clouds, new shadows moved, not ships but something bigger. Atmospheric carriers, Ayla gasped. They're bringing siege beasts. Jacob held his rifle tighter. Then we'll bring war. Inside the house, Lyra rested on a bed of leaves. Not normal leaves, living ones, pulsing with a soft blue light. They had grown through the floor after her last outburst. The planet listens to her. Ayla whispered. She's not just powerful. Jacob said, scanning the perimeter. She's becoming something more. Suddenly, the house shook. Jacob rushed to the front window and froze. The trees at the edge of the forest were falling. Not burning, not cut. Just crashing down one by one as something moved through them. And then it stepped into view. A beast 10 meters tall. Part machine, part creature. It walked on 4 legs, covered in black armor, its eyes red as blood. Cannons were built into its shoulders. Chains wrapped around its torso, glowing with electric pulses. Behind it, dozens of Velari elites marched. They weren't hiding anymore. They were invading. Jacob didn't run. He activated the last defense protocol on his land, a forgotten Earth tech feature called Sentinel Wake. 4 towers hidden underground rose from the soil, locking into place. Turrets, lasers, shields. This won't hold them long, he said. But it'll buy time. For what? Ayla asked. For a miracle, he replied. The first wave hit like a hammer. The beast charged, tearing through the fence, breaking turrets in a single swing. The towers fired back beams of hot light, slicing through the trees, hitting elites. In the chest, some fell. Others didn't. Jacob fought like a soldier born from fire. Every shot he fired hit target. Every move was practiced, precise, calculated. But the enemy kept coming. One elite charged straight at him. Jacob fired, missed. Too fast. It jumped, reaching for his throat. then stopped mid-air. Frozen. I stood behind it, her hands glowing with purple energy. With a scream, she snapped her wrists, and the elite exploded into mist. Jacob turned to her. "Since when can you do that?" She grinned weakly. "You inspired me." But it wasn't enough. The beast reached the front door and roared. Its chest opened, revealing a glowing orb. Energy built up inside. One blast from that thing would erase the entire house. Jacob yelled, "Down!" But Lyra had already stepped outside, barefoot, glowing, calm. The grass around her bloomed with white flowers. In seconds, the air shimmered. Even the wind seemed to pause. The beast charged its cannon. Lyra lifted both hands and spoke one word: "Stop." The air cracked. The beast's body froze, then bent backward, metal groaning like trees in a storm. Its armor shattered, falling in pieces like dry leaves. The orb in its chest dimmed, then imploded, sucking the entire machine inward like a black hole collapsing. Then silence. Even the remaining elite stepped back, unsure. Lyra turned to them, eyes bright. "Like twin suns," I said. "Stop." Every Velari within range dropped their weapons. Some fell to their knees, some turned and fled into the woods. Only one didn't move. From the biggest dropship, a new figure stepped out, taller, slender, wearing white armor laced with gold. His helmet came off slowly, revealing a face not unlike Ayla's, same species, same markings, but colder, older. "Your daughter," he said calmly, "is not meant to live free." Ayla's breath caught. "No." Jacob looked at her. "Who is that?" "My brother," she said bitterly. "High Enforcer Relten, leader of the Velari Order, and Lyra's uncle." Relten stepped forward, unarmed. "I won't fight," he said, "not unless forced. I only came to speak." Lyra walked toward him, unafraid. Jacob moved to stop her, but Ayla held his arm. "Let her choose," she said. Relten knelt. "You are powerful, child, too powerful. That frightens many. But you can join us, lead us. We will protect you." Lyra blinked. "Protect me or use me," he smiled. "What's the difference in a dangerous galaxy?" Lyra looked back at Jacob. "Papa?" He nodded. "It's your choice." Lyra turned back to her uncle. Her voice echoed like a bell louder. "Then thunder. Then I choose Earth." Relten's smile faded. "You've made an enemy of the stars," he said. "No," Jacob said, stepping forward with his rifle. "She's made a family." Asterisk. The sky above the house turned white. Not from fire. Not from lightning, but from her. Lyra floated just above the ground. Her tiny body glowed gold, silver, and blue, like the sun had cracked open and poured its light into her. Her hair flowed in all directions. Her eyes shimmered with energy so old and deep, it made the stars seem young. Jacob and Ayla stood back, shielding their eyes. Even Relten, the High Enforcer of the Velari, took a step away. No one moved. No one breathed. Lyra barely. Past toddler age was becoming something more than anyone expected. A force, a signal, truth. Suddenly, the earth answered her. The ground beneath the house cracked open, roots crystallined. Vines and glowing rocks rose from the soil like they had minds of their own. The trees bent toward her, their leaves trembling. The air was heavy, but not with fear. With awakening. "What's happening?" Jacob whispered. "She's unlocking the link," Ayla replied, voice shaking. "It's not just her power. She's reaching across space. To who? To anyone. Who listens." In the cold void of orbit, hundreds of kilometers above, Earth's colony, an old Earth military satellite, blinked online. It hadn't moved in years. But now, it turned. Its scanners locked onto a signal it wasn't programmed to recognize, but couldn't ignore. Inside, hidden protocols activated. 1. Message began repeating across all channels. "Child beacon Fa. Priority 1. Human link detected. Send response. In a classified lab deep in Earth Command HQ, alarms flashed. A technician dropped his coffee. Sir, you need to see this. On the screen, a child's life signature glowing like a small sun. The general leaned forward. That's not possible. Should we dispatch? The general didn't hesitate. Send the Aegis. Back on the ground, Relten looked up at the sky, then back at Lyra. What are you doing? He asked, stepping closer. Lyra didn't speak aloud, but everyone heard her voice, calling those who care. Relten's face twisted. You will regret this. A sudden pulse of energy burst from Lyra, but it didn't hurt. It pushed. Every enemy soldier was thrown back, not wounded but sent flying, crashing into trees, into dropships, into shadows. But Relten held his ground. He stepped closer again. You don't understand what your power can bring, he said. The galaxy is not kind. If you awaken fully, you'll attract things worse than me. Lyra's head tilted slightly. Her voice echoed again, calm, but terrifying. Then let them come. Jacob was no longer afraid. He walked to Lyra's side. She drifted down slowly, her light dimming until she stood on the ground again. She looked tired, like she had used something too big for her little body. But she reached out, and Jacob caught her. I'm here, he said, holding her close. You did more than anyone expected. Ayla joined them, kneeling down and hugging both. For a moment, just a moment, the world was still, but not for long. High above, the clouds split. A shadow came down. Enormous. It wasn't VEHLRE. It wasn't human. It was something ancient. Dark. Round. Living. Metal, floating silently, scanning everything. Ayla looked up and whispered, No. Relten stepped back, eyes wide, the deep listener. She called them. What is it? Jacob asked, raising his rifle. A race older than war, Ayla said. The ones who hear every mind in the stars. If they wake, if they choose. Sides, she didn't finish. The air shimmered. And then a new voice entered every mind at once. Not loud. Not cruel. Just knowing. We have watched the humans. We heard the child. We answer. Suddenly, a second shadow entered the sky. Faster. Sharper. Human. Made. The Aegis, a ship the size of a city, Earth's last resort dreadnought, armed with weapons that could melt moons. Built for peace, but capable of fire. It hovered above the battlefield, blotting out the stars. From it, a human voice spoke through the clouds. This is Captain Reese of the Aegis. We received a priority. Beacon, step away from the child or prepare for immediate orbital strike. Relten looked around. His army broken, his war beast gone, the deep listener watching. Earth's strongest ship aimed right at his head. He had lost, without another word. He touched a device on his wrist and vanished. The other Villari fled. Behind him. Silence returned. Jacob looked up at the stars, then down at the child in his arms. She's not just yours now, he whispered to Ayla. No, Ayla said softly. She belongs to something far greater. Lyra stirred. She looked up. I'm sleepy. Jacob smiled. You've earned it. The battlefield was quiet, but not empty. Ash floated in the air like snow. Trees leaned away from the house, scorched and broken. Earth's largest warship, the Aegis, hovered silently above, casting a long shadow over the land. And in the center of it all stood a man, a woman, and a child. Jacob held Lyra close to his chest, her tiny arms curled around his neck. Her glowing eyes were closed now. She was asleep, safe for the first time in her life. Behind him, Ayla stood tall but silent, staring at the skies. They'll come again, she whispered. I know, Jacob said. They always come for power. He looked down at the little girl in his arms. Then let them come. She's not alone anymore. From the ship above, a human shuttle descended. It landed softly near the crater where the battle beast had fallen. A group of armored soldiers stepped out, led by a tall gray-haired captain. He didn't shout, he didn't aim a gun. He simply walked over and stopped in front of Jacob. "You the one who sent the beacon?" he asked. Jacob nodded. "She did, the kid." The captain looked at Lyra and blinked in surprise. "She's not fully human." "No," Jacob said, "but she's Earth's now. And she saved all of us." The captain took off his helmet. "Name's Reese. We've been tracking strange signals for weeks. Never thought it'd come from a child." "She's more than a child," Ayla said, stepping forward. "She's a bridge between stars." Reese looked from Ayla to Jacob. "She yours?" Jacob hesitated, then nodded. "She's mine." The captain smiled, just a little. "Then Earth will protect her." A soft beep came from his wrist console. He checked it. "Bad news," he said. "That Valari fleet. They're regrouping. Out past the moon. They'll be back with more." "I figured," Jacob said. "We'll help move the girl to a secure base. The Aegis can hold off anything that comes near." But Jacob shook his head. "No, she stays here." Reese raised a brow. "On a farm?" "She made this land listen," Jacob said. "She called the trees, the sky, the stone. This planet is part of her now." Ayla nodded. "He's right. This is her anchor." Captain Reese stared at the sleeping child, then sighed. "Then we'll set up a perimeter, defenses, satellite. Eyes, good," Jacob said. "But don't lock her in a cage." "Wouldn't dare," Reese replied. "After what she did? I think I'd rather lock the galaxy out." As the soldiers moved to deploy small beacons and stealth shields, Jacob stepped into the wreckage of his old shed. Smoke still rose from the walls. A cracked photo sat on the table, his old crew from Earth War 7. He smiled at it, then tossed it aside. That part of his life was done. This new chapter wasn't about death. It was about her. Later, Lyra finally woke. Sunlight poured through the broken roof, painting gold on her skin. She stretched and yawned, looking around. "Is the bad man gone?" she asked. Jacob knelt beside her. "He won't be back for a while." Lyra blinked. "Did I do something bad?" "No," he said softly. "You did something amazing. I was scared." He brushed her hair back gently. "Courage doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you keep going anyway." She smiled at him, then hugged him tight like she never wanted to let go. "You're my papa," she whispered. He held her even tighter. "And you're my little star." Ailey watched from the porch, arms crossed, face soft. "She's chosen," she said. Jacob looked at her. "You said that before. What does it mean?" "In our culture," Ayla replied, "when a child bonds like this, it is final. Not just emotionally, spiritually, biologically." "You mean?" "She's part human now," Ayla said. "Your DNA, your instincts, your heart. She carries it all forward." Jacob didn't reply, but in his eyes there was fire. A father's fire. Far above the colony, in the blackness between stars, the Valari fleet floated in silence. Relten stood on the command deck of the largest warship, eyes staring at a hologram of the Earthchild. "She defied us," one of his officers said. "She became more than us," Relten whispered. "What now?" Relten didn't answer. He turned and walked away. For now they would wait. But not forever. Back on Earth, Lyra played in the soil. Her fingers traced glowing patterns into the ground. Small flowers bloomed around her, despite the damage and ash. Captain Reese stood beside Jacob. "You know," he said, "we have people who would pay a lot to study her." Jacob didn't even look at him. "If anyone tries," he said, "I'll bury them myself." Reese chuckled. "Understood." Then he looked at the horizon. "The world just changed, didn't it?" Jacob nodded. "She's going to change more." The stars above shimmered. Some feared her, some wanted her, but she belonged to Earth now. To the man who never turned away. To the father who chose her, not because of her power, but because she was his,